the world as a teenager, but then a series of personal crises derailed the career of this champion in the making. He was washed up, everyone thought, but not Mark. At 32, he's come back to be in contention for a world title and to prove wrong all those who thought surfing's a young man's game. You know this guy?
Yeah.
You know Occy?
Yeah.
Even in Japan, you know Occy. The look on their faces says everything. Wherever he goes, Mark Occhilupo is a surfing god.
I don't know what it is with me in the ocean. I've been in it ever since I've been 10, and it's a love, and it's just the feel for the ocean. You know, it's such a special place that it gives me, such ultimate pleasure.
In every far-flung corner of the surfing world, they know the stories of Occy's unique bond with the sea.
He redefines surfing. He redefines it for people pretty much every day he goes in the water.
Barton Lynch, a former world champion, believes Occy is simply one of the most brilliant, original talents in sport.
He does. I don't know how you can kind of explain the surfing he does. A wave, it's steep, it's quite vertical, and to actually turn tight in the pocket of a wave where it's vertical is the hardest thing to do. And Mark turns in parts of a wave where I've never turned. You know what I mean? Where he has this power and this centre of this build where he can do things on a wave that just aren't normal, that people haven't done before.
Marco Luciano Occhilupo is the son of an Italian migrant. Much to the despair of his hard-working father, Occy only wanted to go surfing. Every day, he's out there at dawn, no matter what coast he's on, no matter how big or small the surf. How old were you when you went on tour?
Well, I just turned 16, and that's when I clicked, and I came home, and my mates were like, wow, we can't believe how good you've gotten. And, after that, I ended up number 3 in the world in the next year.
In the early 80s, Occy was surfing's wonder boy, wowing crowds of 50,000 at Huntington in California. But just as it seemed the World Championship was within reach, inexplicably, Occy walked away from it all. What really did cause you to drop out?
It's a culmination of a few things. But they all didn't happen at the same time. When I was young, the drug thing was just a new thing, just when you're on top of the world and someone offers you this and it feels good for a little while, but...
Let's not beat around the bush, though. You can't be the top man on the wave and be hungover or coked out of your mind.
No, well, you can't. When you're young, you think you can for a little while, but you're going to soon learn that you can't.
How many boards have you got?
Well, this year, I've been through about... numbered up to about 35 boards.
Top surfers at the time were earning $200,000 to $300,000 a year. For the teenage Occy, the big bucks were burning a hole right through his pocket. There were a lot of wild nights, and at least one night he'd rather forget.
I think we'd had too much to drink, and I was going to bury my boards on the beach and leave them there for when I come back. But the very next morning, the guy was just doing a sand grading, went right over them, and they crushed them all.
Like a bulldozer?
Yeah, with one of those big sand graders, to grade the sand for the people using the beach the next day. But, that's...
So that's why you go through 30 a year, right? After quitting, Occy became a virtual recluse, sneaking out for a surf only when he was sure no one would see him. A diet of Cocoa Pops, beer and chicken and chips turned a once super fit athlete into a blimp.
When I was big, I was that big where I was having anxiety attacks just to go outside, I didn't want to run into anyone and say, look, there's Occy, and then, wow, look how big he is, how gross.
Who did you look like when you looked in the mirror?
When I was my biggest, I looked like, to me, I thought I looked like Elvis Presley when he got to his biggest.
How big?
How big? I was up to about 17 stone I got, and when I got to that big, B thought it was a really good idea for me to have some counselling.
B is Mark's wife, Beatrice. Queen Bee, she's called by friends, and she was the one who tamed surfing's wild man.
He's pretty unpredictable and, you know, like, can be a bit mad, I suppose, but he never really learnt how to organise or manage his finances. Everything was done for him.
Was meeting Beatrice the biggest turning point in your life?
I didn't know it at the time, but sitting here right now, oh yeah.
She'd been studying to be a drug and alcohol counsellor.
She was at the
time.
Did
she take one look at you and think you're her biggest challenge?
She could have. She could have. I was going through some hard times at that time, you know, and I was running around to all my mates going, guess what, I've met the perfect lady, right?
After B persuaded Occy to see a counsellor, he began to discover why he'd gone off the rails, why he would crash from moments of pure exhilaration to the depths of depression.
I got to know myself, got to know if I was crazy or not, I mean, or what, but the best thing I did was go and do that because I felt really good inside myself, and I felt good in my head. So then the came back, I'm still saying I never was thinking of a comeback, but that stemmed from there.
With his head clear and with a new determination to fulfill his own and his father's high hopes, Mark went back into training. He had to shed those excess kilos and then try to do what everyone else thought was impossible, to come back at the age of 30.
You'd be here in Sydney and you'd hear rumours of Occy. They've seen him surfing Kira and he's 30 stone and he's all these rumours and you just go, oh my God, but he's coming back, and you go, there's no chance this guy's coming back. And then
months competing against younger surfers just to re-qualify for the top competition.
It's a hard sort of slog, you know, like he's competing with all these young guys and he'd get so disillusioned sometimes, you know, like he'd lose and he'd go, that's it, I'm going home, and they're going, no, you're not, you got to hang in there and, you know, you can do it, you can do it.
Last Easter, 14 years after his first pro circuit win, Occy broke through, taking out the prestigious Bells Beach event in Victoria. It was a victory over himself and a victory for his dad.
It's hard for me to say, but I want to commemorate this win to my father, Mark Occhilupo, who passed away in 1990, and I've been waiting a long time and for an event like this to say this, and I think it's a special time, and thanks a lot, and thanks to him.
If you're up at dawn on the far north coast of New South Wales, you might catch him in action with his stepson, Rainer. Now 32, Occy seems reborn, back in control, back in love with surfing.
You know, I found a new level in my surfing, really, just thinking I just was like, wow, why did I put this down, you know, because it feels so natural and like it always had. And I was like, I used to just get tingles in myself, down my back, just thinking, geez, why did you put this down? I mean, to make a comeback from where I came from is just not to make up the numbers. You know, I want to get to the top, and if everything goes according to plan, and if I just can stay, you know, level-headed, and I feel like I can do it.
To me, he just has unfinished business. You know, it's just unfinished business. He feels like he didn't get something that rightfully was his. There were moments in time where you looked at it and really, it was really sad, you know. And then you look at it now, and to me, it's just one of the greatest triumphs that I've witnessed. You know, whether he wins a world title or not, to me that's irrelevant. The thing's already proven, it's already done, and you know he's the most influential surfer in the world today.
This is what I'm here for, and if it doesn't happen this year, I won't be upset, because I still feel like I can give my utmost next year.
So there'll be quite a few years ahead.
Well, not a few, but I'd love to go into year 2000 on top. You know, that's a dream, but dreams can come true, and
A 34-year-old world champion.